Okay, so here we are, we're back. And I'm going to bring over my little agenda list. So, tutorial number 2, agenda. We're going to compare After Effects versus Premiere Pro in regards to editing. There's a reason why. Because we're going to do basic editing within After Effects via the footage preview panel. Okay. And setting a resolution, I'll talk about that. We're gonna set our resolution back up to full, whereas before it was set to half. I'll show you where that is again. We're gonna go over editing in After Effects via using the in point and the out point. And before we go any further, let me just move this out of the way. So we need to edit certain clips depending on your project. For this one here, I want to add in some secondary footage to help reinforce the dialogue that's going on here, and just to add things up, you know, just change things up and use different tools, make it fun and like a visual collage in a way. So, but we're not going to use Premiere because it's a different class, and learning two softwares at the same time is going to drive you mad. And for the sake of just super basic editing, After Effects can more than hold its own, you know. And but compared to Premiere, you want to use Premiere if, for example, you have a lot of things to edit. I mean, a lot of just, you know, minute editing, tons of footage. Premiere is just streamlined for it. I can't explain it. I don't have Premiere installed on my second computer here. And my old Premiere files are on my other computer, which is right now out of order. It just crashed. Anyway, so I can't really show it, but all I can do is just say why Premiere Pro is your go-to tool for massive amounts of editing. For small amounts, you can more than enough get away with After Effects. A lot of times when I'm lazy, I'll just use After Effects to get my clips, you know, that way I don't have to go back and forth. Anyway, so that's what it is. There's a workflow when you work with Premiere Pro and After Effects. It's I think they call it dynamic linking. So for example, if you edit in Premiere Pro your footage, you could have it dynamically linked to After Effects, where you can bring in your Premiere Pro edited footage file into After Effects to work on, to add the bells and whistles of additional visual eye candy, you know, and stuff like that. But that's a whole different tutorial or class. Anyway, out of that, right here we are back again. I got my footage here. I'm gonna zoom out. Let me check something. God, stop it. What? Why is that? Oh, that's annoying. I gotta fix that. Alright, so this here is set to 56 seconds. It should be 45. Whatever. I'm gonna go back to my main comp. I'm gonna reset it to 45 seconds. So I'm gonna select my main comp. I can right click composition settings, or select your main comp, composition settings, or also Control K. For Macs, it might be Command K, maybe, but just give it a try. All right, so my main comp, For whatever reason, it's not back to 45. I don't know what I did before, but I'm gonna just set it to 45 seconds because that's what I wrote in the PDF documentation. But I mean, it all varies, but just for the sake of being all at the same page. All right, so 45 seconds. All right, now, first thing, I remember talking about this here, your resolution for your preview that usually want to set to half. In this case, the safe thing to do is probably go full for now, because I was doing some experimentation and there were some odd glitches, which is known to happen. But it usually happens when you got a lot of stuff going on. And some other technical reasons regarding the RAM preview, it's what we call it's being cached into the system memory, and After Effects has a specific folder to save your memory, which I'll show you right now. I'm kind of going off track, but if I'm going to teach, I gotta show this. All right, so under Edit. So let's say if you're working from home, and you also have, let's say, more than one hard drive. This is getting a little bit technical, but for those that have a computer at home with maybe 2 hard drives, right? I want to go over this. Edit, Preferences, and let's go to General. All right. So these are your preferences. Let's go to, memory and performance. All right. So this is fine. Why is this slowing down? What? Okay. So the thing with After Effects is where there's this thing called media and disk cache. And the way it functions is where After Effects, I mentioned about all the footage, the preview is saved. You could play it back here where it goes to green. And when it goes to green, that means that it stored the virtual memory regarding the preview of your footage and your effects. And it's storing that in a specific folder. Right now, mine is being saved to the C drive, the name of your computer, users, the name, under app data, local temp. That's where it's being saved. For you, we'll go over this in class, but I just want to go over that. Any After Effects teacher needs to talk about this regarding the disk cache. This is like important stuff down the line. Might as well go over it now. So I have it set to my temp. I'm going to switch it to something else. For example, I don't know. I have another drive, a D drive. Maybe I'll set it there. Double click on it. I'm gonna right click, new folder. I'm gonna just name it AE disk cache and select folder. So all my information where it stores the visuals of this and the audio, or the visuals of this, is going to be stored into this folder that I designated. And it has here, how much can I store of that data? I'm gonna choose, I don't know, 200 gigabytes of this, memory stored onto my disk cache folder. which is set to my secondary drive. That's the other thing. This folder, you want to set to a secondary hard drive if you have one. If you don't, it's going to set it to the temp folder by default. So yeah, be mindful of this if you have a second hard drive. This is critical. If you do not, just ignore. And I'm going to hit OK. So all this information where it's going to play like butter. There's no lag, no stutter. See? It's playing in real time. That is possible because of that disk cache. And where everything is lit up in green, it's being stored. Alright. So, with that out of the way, next. Let me so I set it to full. Yeah, going back. Because half, it does something where so watch this. If I set it to half, see how it kind of changes? It has to reload the information. See how it's changing? Slowly. So that gets fed into the disk cache. Anyway, all that stuff, what's the whole point, right? Well, setting to half, I noticed that it causes some visual glitches, you know? But if I set it to full, it's those glitches go away. Okay. And also, if you start to notice more and more visual glitches, which can't be explained, you know, and you didn't add any special effects, you have to go to Edit, Purge, All Memory and Disk Cache. Again, that's Purge, All Memory and Disk Cache. That's going to purge all that information here, the green stuff. And it's going to reload everything again fresh. Be mindful of that. That's like foundational stuff. I wish I put it here. Well, maybe I should just put it here now. Setting your disk cache folder to a second drive. Next one is purging your disk cache when things start to glitch. Right, good. Let's put it here. So I went over comparing. I went over the basic editing. Oh, not that, not yet. All right, I went over this, setting your resolution back up to full and Y, which kind of, you know, went in circles for a bit, but I explained it. All right, setting your disk cache to second drive. All right, purging. All right, I went over that just now. Okay, now let's go back to basic editing. All right. From here, I have here this ending scene. And I want to use some of the clips to help reinforce the conversation. From here, as you notice, this panel only has one tab, my main comp. If I double click this, it opens another tab. Like I mentioned before, this is not a comp. This is just the footage preview. But within this, I can edit it and take out clips and dump it in here. Okay? Here's my footage. Here's my comp. Do not get confused. Okay? So, now I want to grab some visuals that shows a bit of memories regarding the character. This character was murdered, and the family is in a grieving period. So I want to get some of this data, this visual cues. Anyway, in this timeline here, I moved up to here. I want to start from here. So I'm going to press this. This is my endpoint. Okay, click it. See how it clipped it? This doesn't mean that I deleted this. It just hid it. And I'm going to carefully drag the little blue stuff here, marker, up to here. And I'm going to press my out point. So I'm going to try not to backtrack, but this, when I was doing this, and when I had I'm clicking on my main comp over here, this tab, and I had it to half, this here kind of got, I don't know, not as accurate. And it would just kind of act weird. That's why we said to reset it to full instead of half. That's the reason why. Now going back to this, so I like this clip. Now, how do I put this little clip in here? Do I just try to grab it? Well, that ain't gonna work. I tried grabbing it. Do I grab this thing and dump it here? I can't do that. What do we do? I'm just gonna grab this ending scene from here, left click and hold. See how it turns into a plus sign? Drop it on top. Here it is. See? And let's talk about the timeline. This here is the bottom, first layer of the main conversation piece. See, if I move here, it changes. This is the main conversation piece. Okay, on top of it is the secondary footage. So whatever you put on top puts on not overrides, but visually puts on top of the one underneath it. Okay, so it's a stacking order where the one on top takes priority visually. But in this sense here, this one, I only want the visuals. I do not want the audio. This here means the audio. Click it, it turns it off. This is its visual. Click it, turns it off. Click it again, turns it back on. This here, I can lock it so that I don't accidentally move it. Whereas this one doesn't have a lock, and you can accidentally move it around. See that? You see this thing? That black tick mark marks the beginning point. And you could accidentally move things around too. So you want to be mindful of that. But I'm going to leave it unlocked for now because there's a lot of changing I'm going to do. So I got my clip. I turned off the audio. Okay. I'm going to move it around here. And I'm going to have the visual cue in during a certain, I don't know, part of the conversation. So, as I mentioned before, here's the clip. And I want some more clips from this footage. But it's further down the line. So I'm just gonna go here. Okay, so from right around here, I want to start here. All I'm gonna do is this chunk of a piece of a timeline. Just gonna grab it. Wait. All right, so right. Okay. Right around here, right? Yeah, let me do this again. Instead of grabbing it, I'm just gonna see how it changed the cursor. See that? Just gonna stretch it. And then, oh jeez. Just bear with me. And then I'm gonna move it. It's hard to show, but there's this little area. It has a little lines, transparent. That's where you grab it. That's why, you see right there, that's the one. You see that? That is what allows you to grab it. So it's giving me a hard time because it's overlapping with the numbers. Okay, so boom, right around here. I'm gonna just, oh, I'm getting annoyed. All right, right there. I'm gonna start there. I'm gonna grab this, click. I got my endpoint. Good. Boom, boom, boom. And stop right there. This is my out point. Click. This is my little chunk. And even though I did that, that did not influence this. You see that? It did nothing to that. I can go back here into my footage for this scene. This is the footage, not the composition. And I just changed it, right? So same thing with that footage, which is this, left click, hold and drag up on top and let go. And here it is. This is the one. And I need to turn off the audio. I'm gonna grab here, drag it around here. So so he's talking. It's a heavy conversation. I'm gonna sync it to this footage. Okay. And then go back into conversating, and then I'm gonna, at a key point of the dialogue, I'm gonna sync it to this. Kind of like maybe reflecting, you know? Like that. And then, let me pick out another one. I'm gonna grab this and grab that, holding the shift. And I'm just gonna carefully move it around. Just give me some, so I get some space over here. Other thing I want to emphasize is these clips, they're live in the sense that you can change the length. See this? From here to there, you see that? You can stretch it and get the clips back, but I don't want that. But I just want you to be mindful of that, because that can happen. I can't lock it. I wish I could, but I can't. And then there's this, right? Same thing with this. See? You can pull. Over here, you can pull. But I want specifically this shot. Okay. Lastly, there's another clip. I'm going to go back into the footage clip of the ending scene. And there's one more I want. Ooh, you saw that? I accidentally pulled it. I'm just going to do Control Z to undo. Go into this timeline here, right there. Oh, around there. That's what I want. So I'm gonna set my out point. Okay, so I get a big chunk so that I can now see the grab, the designated grab point, which is here. You will see as 4 lines, and it changes. I'm gonna grab it and yank it and align it right there. So if I go here, right there, and then I'm gonna boom, 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 right there. That's the out point. And I'm gonna click it. That's how I got that. And just for my misery, I'll do that again. All right, so I'll do it again. Go forward and right there. Yeah, there you go. Like I mentioned before, I can set my out point here only because I want to grab the handle. You see those 4 lines? And then I can easily move it. See, now it's hard to see it because the timeline numbers are covering it. And then boom, right there. I want to cut out. And I'm going to press this. There you go. All that was done using the left click to drag, you know, and this to begin and end. Okay, and like I said before, be mindful of these 4 lines down here, over here. That'll allow you to grab it precisely. If not, if you try to grab it here, whatever, your blue tick marker will move instead, and you'll lose your point of interest. Okay, so I did that. I'm gonna grab it again with this content clip. Left click, drag, and drop on top. And here it is. See? I'm gonna turn off the audio. I don't want double audio running at the same time. I'm gonna just place it right around here, maybe. So boom, boom, it's talking, blah, 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 blah. And ends there. I think this is a little bit longer though. So I'm just gonna hold down shift and select. Just gonna move this over for a bit. I'm gonna just turn off the visibility. Reason why I'm doing all this is I just wanna see where it ends. I wanna hear the audio. Let me turn the audio up.
How to go away. Wanted answers. Questions that couldn't be answered.
Alright. The reason I did that was I'm missing some footage. It ends here, 45. It needs to be a little bit longer. Okay.
I think it's easier. No.
Oh, not only that, but I need to edit the main footage itself. Wait.
I think it's easier. If there's any comforts, they're used in pain, I suppose. Went to a grief seminar.
Maybe I'll start around here when he says that he went to a grief seminar. Because all of this is great footage. I mean, great dialogue, but maybe just to cut it short.
Went to an arc. In Casper. Went to a grief seminar. In Casper.
So right around here. Maybe I'll give a little bit more time for padding. Start around here.
Went to a grief seminar.
So that gives me a lot of padding, you know, to add in, a fade out. So I'm gonna start from here. I'm not gonna use the footage scene, you know, where I could double click, you know, like click and cut from here. I'm not gonna do that. So I'm gonna cut from here. So again, what I'm doing is I just noticed that my original footage with the dialogue that I want, I need to edit it, and that's what I'm doing right now. But I first edited the secondary footage, which you guys just saw. So now let's go back to the original. Okay, and I want to start from here. And how do I do that? From within the timeline. So this is good to learn. It is, I believe, holding down Control on the PC and the left bracket. No. Shift. No. All right, good. It's actually the Alt key for the PC. So it's Alt and the left bracket. Give me a break. Alt and left bracket will cut it. Again, that is Alt and the left bracket. The left bracket is the one that is to the right of your P as in Peter key. So you have next to the P as in Peter key, you have your left and your right brackets. And you'd be pressing the Alt and left bracket to begin, and then to put the cut at the end, you want the Alt and the right bracket. And for the on the Mac, I believe it's the Command key instead of the Alt key. Alright, so I got the first cut. It's gonna continue from here. So it's gonna start from here. So I'm just gonna grab it, okay? Again, from anywhere but from here, you right around here, you just grab it and you just move it over. And I'm gonna move my timeline over here. Then I'm gonna go back, grab this, and I'm gonna hold down Shift. It's gonna snap. See and watch.
Went to a brief seminar in Casper. You know that? You know that? I don't know why. Just wanted the bad to go away. Wanted answers. Questions that couldn't be answered. The counselor came up to me at the seminar, sat down next to me. He said something that stuck with me. I don't know if it's what he said, or it's how he said it.
All right.
Went to a brief seminar in Casper.
Press the spacebar to pause it. So I need more frames. Again, what I'm going to do is for my main comp, need to select my main comp, go to composition settings. Again, composition settings. Now, remember I had set it to 45. Let's set it to, I don't know, a minute. So that's a minute is over here. And minute 45. Yeah, let's just make it 1 minute 45 seconds. Okay, see, 1 minute 45, and hit OK. And you see this down here. I'm gonna extend it out to here so it fits everything. So from here, let's play it from here. I'm gonna press spacebar.
He says, I got some good news. I got some bad news. Bad news is you're never going to be the same. You're never going to be whole. Not ever again. You lost your daughter. And nothing's ever going to replace that. Now, the good news is, as soon as you accept that, you let yourself suffer. You allow yourself to visit her in your mind. You remember all the love she gave, all the joy she knew. Point is, Martin.
All right, so that's everything. I'm gonna go back here before he talks. Maybe around there, where he kind of takes in his next breath to pause and talk. I'll end it there. Let's see if that works. So I'm going to press Alt and the right bracket. Again, that's Alt, right bracket. Give me a break. I have to select it. This is where I want it to end. I have it selected. Press Alt, right bracket. Boom. Cuts it right there. The Mac, what is that, the Command key? Yeah. All right, so go from here. Let's try play it again. Spacebar.
You remember all the love she gave, all the joy she knew.
Good. All right, good. So, all right, I'm happy with that. But now I notice I got a whole bunch of space. I guess I'll leave it for now. I can add fillers like a open and a close, and you know, intro. So I'm gonna leave it there for now. I'm gonna zoom out. I'm gonna press and hold my Alt key and my mouse scroll to zoom out. And from here, boom, boom, boom. I gotta listen to what he's saying.
You know that? You know that? I don't know why. I don't know why.
Ooh, let me turn this back on. And I'm gonna grab it, move it around here. This one's active. These guys are not, because the eyeball is not on. The audio is not on, which is good. Let me move it back here.
Just wanted the bad to go away. Wanted answers. Wanted answers. Questions that couldn't be answered.
Alright, gotta move forward.
The counselor came up to me in the seminar, sat down next to me. He said something that stuck with me. I don't know if it's what he said. It's how he said it. He says, I got.
Okay. Well, maybe I could leave it here.
He says, I got some good news. I got some bad news.
Okay. Next one. I'm gonna go over here, turn on the eyeball. Make sure the audio is off.
I got some bad news. Bad news is you're never going to be the same. You're never going to be whole. Not ever again. You lost your daughter. And nothing's ever going to replace that. The good news is, as soon as you accept that, you let yourself suffer.
Okay. So this part here is a little dragging on.
Not ever again. Not ever again. You lost your daughter. Nothing's ever going to replace that.
Right around here, I want it to cut. So as we learned before, I press the space bar to stop it. And then I'm gonna press and hold Alt and the right bracket to cut it. Okay. All right. Then what if I want another clip on top of it to continue on from here? You know, from here. Because I want the close-up of the daughter's picture after. Before, this shot is walking towards the picture, but I want to have a cut and cut to the close-up of this after. So the way I make a duplicate of this, but have it continue from there on, it's I believe Control D? Nope. Control Shift D? Damn it, no. Shift or Option Alt D. Damn. Hold on. All right, so I want to show what that neat trick, but in order to do that, I have to undo the cut that I just did. Okay, so not to confuse the students, but the cut that I just did with the Alt and the right bracket, I'm going to undo that because remember I cut in the first place because I wanted this clip, right? Just this clip. I'm going to undo. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. There. Remember I cut it here. So going back to that neat trick I want to show where I want only this and this clip, and then I want another layer on top continuing on. Okay, so I don't need this. Okay, I don't need this segment, but I want to continue it on another layer. You'll see it. So I'm going to do Control Shift D while this is selected. Again, that's Control Shift D, and I cut it. See? Again, that was Control Shift D. So from here, maybe right around here where it's more in line. I'm going to cut here. That's Alt left bracket. I'm going to cut it. So this extra padding I don't want. It's dragging on too long. So let's see if that helps. From here, spacebar.
You're never going to be the same. You're never going to be whole. You're never going to be whole. Not ever again. Not ever again.
Okay, so that was a little bit rough. I'm going to give it some frame.
Not ever again. You lost your daughter. Nothing's ever going to replace that.
Okay, that little pause, I want to cut there.
Daughter. Nothing's ever.
Right there. So I'm gonna do right here. I'm gonna do Alt right bracket cut. Okay, so that was Alt right bracket. I cut it out there. This is just pure editing work. The reason I cut it out is because it dragged on too long. You know, that's the reason why I cut it out.
You'll never be whole. Not ever again.
And I started here because he said, you know, you never be whole, never again. And I want to show reflection of the father's memories, digging back to his child. Okay?
You'll never be whole. You'll never be whole. Not ever again. Not ever again. You lost your daughter. You lost your daughter. Nothing's ever going to replace that.
Okay. So, you know, he's talking and the father is reflecting. You could see his emotional response. You know, he's in pain.
Nothing's ever going to replace that. Now, the good news is, as soon as you accept that.
Okay.
As soon as you accept that, you let yourself suffer.
All right. So here's that last clip. I dragged it over. Again, I drag it from the middle, not from the edge. You drag it from the edge, it wrecks it. Ooh, I gotta turn it back on. See? All right, so let me time it. I dragged it further back so that it times with his dialogue.
You allow yourself to visit her in your mind.
Right there, good.
You remember all the love she gave. All the joy she knew.
Good. So I timed it. The key word that I want to sync it to is the word when he said your mind. Okay? Because when you say your mind, you know, that could mean like his memories of her, you know?
You allow yourself to visit her in your mind.
Maybe it was a bit too soon.
You allow yourself to visit her in your mind.
Good.
You remember all the love she gave. All the joy she knew.
Good. So there you have it. All right. So that, geez, that was almost 45 minutes. Maybe I'll try to edit this down. That's pretty much it. So I went over several things. All right, over here. All right, I talked about the in point and out point in relation to the footages, the footage panel. Okay. I talked about importing the footage into your main comp. And then I talked about editing multiple clips from that same footage that was in here, remember? And then dumping it back into the timeline. Let me just show it again, which was this scene. Remember this? These guys? And how they're all multiples of the same thing, but cut at different points, right? So I talked about that. I went over the essentials, which is over here. the eyeball and the audio. I talked about the layering. I talked about turning off the audio on the secondary footage. Ooh, now I gotta talk about saving your work to the external hard drive. Wait, let me undo that. Alright. What else? I also talked about yeah, editing footage from the timeline. Talked about editing footage from the timeline. Remember here, this this guy right here. I cut it here and I cut it there, and using the Alt plus the brackets. Yeah. So this one or this one. See? Alt plus left or right bracket. Yeah. Talked about that. Cutting it. Okay. Is that everything? Yeah. Now let's talk about saving your work. Which should be straightforward, but let's just do it anyway. File, save as. Now, ooh, not here. Here, external drive. Main folder, After Effects project files. Alright, now let's briefly talk about naming conventions. I didn't go over this in the first tutorial. So basically, you should name it winter underscore themed intro, because this is basically it. And then WIP means work in progress, and then underscore and numerically going up every time you save. You don't want spaces, because sometimes having spaces will screw up the file. Always be safe and put underscore. This is standard practice when you work, at a place, and having naming conventions. Very, very, very important. You can't just name it whatever you want to name it, All right, just like when you submit papers, your professor wants it a certain format, right? Same thing, but this has to do with production, and when you have multiple projects running, or you have to give the file to another coworker, things like that. And you want to save it in your external drive under your After Effects project files. Save. And that's it. Yeah, let's end it there.